You don't even know who you could have been. Not yet. Because you've never met the version of yourself that isn't drowning in poison. The world tells you that you're broken, anxious, unfocused, inadequate. But what they never tell you is this: most of your suffering is not a flaw within you. It's a consequence of what you allow into you. Your body isn't failing you. Your mind isn't weak. Your spirit isn't defective. It's exhausted, working overtime to fight the chemicals, the addictions, the distractions, the lies, the cheap comforts, the food that destroys, the people that drain, the entertainment that rewires your brain into a prison. You call it anxiety. You call it ADHD. You call it lack of discipline. You call it weakness. But what if the truth is darker? What if your mind has been screaming for help while you keep feeding it the very poison it's trying to survive? What if your nervous system is fried not because you're defective, but because you're overcompensating for the evils you allow into your life? You feel inadequate because you're fighting a war on two fronts: the world and the toxins you let through your own gates. You feel distracted because your mind is constantly trying to process the garbage you consume. You feel overwhelmed because your body was built for battle and honor, not sugar highs, cheap dopamine, chemically engineered pleasure, and the non-stop noise of modern chaos. And that is why you've never met the real you. The real you is buried under stimulants, alcohol, vices, addictions, bad relationships, late-night scrolling, processed food, emotional manipulation, codependent habits, and every easy escape you thought would comfort you. But comfort never heals. Comfort corrodes. You want to know why your potential feels distant, why your purpose feels foggy, why your courage feels dead. Because you've been feeding your demons more than you've been feeding your destiny. But listen carefully. There is a turning point in every warrior's life. A moment where they see exactly what has been stealing their power. A moment where excuses die and clarity rises. This is that moment. Not tomorrow. Not when you feel ready. Not after another breakdown. Now. It's time to purge the poisons, both physical and mental. It's time to reclaim your inner strength. It's time to rise with honor, discipline, and purity of direction. When you stop poisoning yourself, your energy returns, your focus sharpens, your confidence regrows, your emotions stabilize, your courage resurfaces, your potential begins to breathe again. You become dangerous, not because you're aggressive, but because you're finally in control, clear, present, awake. Others will look at you and wonder how you transform so quickly. They'll think you found some secret shortcut. But you'll know the truth. You didn't change. You returned. You went back to who you were always meant to be. The world never got to see your full potential because you were diluted, softened, numbed, distracted, broken down by the poisons you let in. But now you stand up. Now you rise. Now you walk with honor. Your body becomes a fortress. Your mind becomes a blade. Your spirit becomes unshakable. You are no longer the result of your poisons. You are the result of your choices. And the day you choose purity, discipline, and self-respect is the day you become unstoppable. Your potential wasn't lost. It was suffocated. And today, you take the first breath of the life you were born to live. The honorable life. The disciplined life. The life of the one who refuses to be poisoned ever again. This is who you truly are. This is who you were always meant to become. And now, the world is finally going to meet you. Now that you see the truth, that it wasn't weakness that held you down, but poison, the question becomes, what will you do with this knowledge Awareness without action is just another form of self-betrayal. You either continue living as a diluted version of yourself, or you begin the process of stripping away everything that has been suffocating your potential. This next part isn't about motivation. It's about strategy, execution, reconstruction. If you're ready to reclaim the strength that was always yours, then these are the 5 steps that will drag you out of the fog and return you to the honorable life you were meant to live. Let's begin. Step 1. Identify every poison. Before you rebuild your life, before you reclaim your strength, before you awaken the version of yourself that terrifies the weaker world, you must confront the truth you've been avoiding. You cannot rise while you're still swallowing poison. And most people don't even realize what their poisons are. They think poison is always something dramatic, something obvious, something extreme. No. The most dangerous toxins are the ones you've normalized, the ones you've accepted as just part of life, the ones you've learned to tolerate until tolerance became destruction. This step requires a level of brutal honesty that most people will never dare to attempt. But you will, because you're here to wake up, not to stay numb. You begin by dragging every poison into the light. Sit alone with a blank page. No distractions, no noise, no excuses. Right at the top, what is weakening me? And then you start listing everything. Not just substances, not just behaviors, but every physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual toxin you allow to enter you. Start with the physical poisons, the food that drains your energy instead of fueling your power, the alcohol that numbs your awareness and destabilizes your emotions, the stimulants that create the illusion of focus but leave your mind scattered, the sugar highs that mimic happiness but end in exhaustion, the late-night habits that rob you of the sleep that your mind needs to function, the comforts that turn your body into a soft shell, barely capable of handling stress. Every one of these is a thief, a slow, calculated thief that steals your potential one day at a time. Then move to the mental poisons, the endless scrolling, the shallow entertainment, the constant stimulation, the noise that fills the silence where your strength should grow, the thoughts you repeat that sabotage you, the content you consume that shapes your identity without your permission. You don't realize how much these things dismantle your mind until you try to live without them. You don't realize how addicted you are until you attempt to quit. You don't realize how much they control you until you rip them out of your routine and feel the withdrawal. Then confront the emotional poisons, the people who drain you, the conversations that leave you heavier, the relationships built on dependency, not respect, the environments that keep you smaller, the cycles of drama you've been conditioned to tolerate, the guilt, the shame, the resentment you carry like armor. These poisons are subtle. They spread quietly, but they destroy you from the inside out. Finally, acknowledge the spiritual poisons, the ones that corrupt your sense of identity, the habits that make you betray your own standards, the temptations that pull you away from discipline, the lies you tell yourself to justify convenience, the moments when you silence your conscience just to avoid discomfort, the way you shrink your potential so others won't feel threatened. These poisons are the deadliest because they warp your entire perception of who you are. They make you distrust your own strength. They turn honor into a memory instead of a lifestyle. This step is a reckoning. You are creating a mirror that exposes what has been killing your potential in silence. And this list, this brutal, unfiltered inventory, becomes the foundation of your rebirth. Because once you name the poisons, they lose their power over you. Once you admit what's weakening you, you reclaim the authority to remove it. Once you see the truth, the lie of "I'm not good enough" dies. You were always enough. You were simply contaminated. So write the list. Confront it. Study it. Feel the weight of everything you've allowed to shape your life without your consent. This step is not comfortable. It's not supposed to be. It's meant to expose the reality beneath the excuses, to show you how much of your suffering was preventable, to reveal that your inadequacy was never a defect. It was the side effect of poison. And when you finally see it clearly, you will feel something you haven't felt in years: control. Because now you know exactly what must be destroyed for your true potential to rise. Step 2. Purge the poisons, one by one. Identification means nothing without elimination. You can list every toxin in your life. You can map every weakness. You can expose every poison. But none of it matters until you become ruthless enough to remove them. This is where the real war begins. Because your poisons do not leave quietly. They fight. They claw. They seduce. They whisper. They promise comfort, pleasure, escape, familiarity, anything to keep their hooks in you. A poison does not care about your future. It cares about survival. And it will do everything in its power to stay inside you. That is why you cannot purge them all at once. You are not here to shock your system. You're here to overpower your addictions with strategy, clarity, and discipline. The most effective transformation does not come from chaos. It comes from deliberate, methodical destruction. So you begin with one poison, not 10, not all, just one. You choose the one that speaks the loudest, consumes the most energy, or destroys your peace the fastest. Maybe it's junk food. Maybe it's alcohol. Maybe it's scrolling until your mind is fried. Maybe it's staying up until 3 a.m. with a dopamine IV running through your veins. Maybe it's a person who drains your sanity every time they speak. Whatever it is, you target it like a surgeon. 7 days. That's what you commit to. 7 days of refusal. 7 days of discipline. 7 days of starving the poison that has been feeding on you for years. And during those 7 days, something strange happens. You start to feel the tug of war inside your own body. The cravings erupt. The excuses grow louder. The internal resistance becomes hostile. Good. That is the sign of separation. That is the sound of the poison losing its power. Because when a toxin is finally exposed and starved, it becomes desperate. It begins fighting for survival. It tries to convince you that you need it, that you're miserable without it, that you won't function without it. But those voices aren't yours. They are the echoes of habits that no longer have a place in your future. And this process, this battle, must be repeated for every poison on your list. You eliminate one, then another, then another. Not quickly, not impulsively, but intentionally, with patience and precision. Each poison you destroy gives you a piece of yourself back, a piece you didn't even realize was missing. Your energy rises, your clarity sharpens, your nervous system calms, your focus returns, your discipline strengthens. Every victory becomes a deposit into your potential. Every week of elimination becomes a step toward the life that was always meant to be yours. But understand this: purging is not just removal. Purging is replacement. When you take out a poison, you must fill the void with something stronger, something that reinforces who you are becoming. Remove junk food. Replace it with real fuel. Remove late-night chaos. Replace it with disciplined rest. Remove toxic people. Replace them with silence, boundaries, and solitude. Remove mindless entertainment. Replace it with learning, thinking, building. You are not just removing toxins from your life. You are constructing an environment where strength grows naturally. And as you remove each poison, the world around you begins to shift. You start noticing things you never saw before. The mental clarity you thought was impossible. The emotional stability you once blamed others for stealing. The ability to focus without needing stimulation. The sense of control over your own impulses. The quiet confidence of someone in command of themselves. And people around you will notice too. They'll ask, what changed? They'll assume you found a new hack, a secret trick, a magic formula. But you will know the truth. You did nothing extraordinary. You just stopped poisoning yourself. This step is where transformation begins. Not through inspiration, but through elimination. Not through motivation, but through discipline. Not through force, but through the relentless refusal to live contaminated. And once you begin this purge, once you feel the strength returning, you will realize something dark and empowering. You were never inadequate. You were simply diluted. And every poison you remove brings you one step closer to the unfiltered version of yourself, the version you were always meant to unleash. Step 3. Rebuild your body as a fortress. Purging the poisons is the cleansing. But rebuilding your body, this is the fortification. This is where you stop living like a fragile creature reacting to life and start living like a weapon forged to shape it. Because here's the truth most people never want to hear. Your mind cannot rise if your body remains weak. Your potential cannot awaken inside a shell that is constantly inflamed, exhausted, undernourished, overstimulated, and overstressed. Your confidence cannot develop when your physical reality signals fragility. Your body is the vessel that carries your discipline. It is the foundation your mind stands on. If the foundation is cracked, everything collapses. So step 3 is about reconstruction. Systematic, disciplined, warrior-like reconstruction. And it starts with the most underestimated weapon of all, sleep. Not casual sleep. Not whatever I get is fine sleep. But sleep with the precision of a soldier and the seriousness of a surgeon. Because when you sleep poorly, your brain becomes fog. Your focus collapses. Your emotional stability disintegrates. Your cravings intensify, your anxiety spikes. Your discipline becomes a ghost. You cannot fight life with an under-rested mind. You cannot reach your potential when you wake up already defeated. So you build a schedule, a stark, inflexible, honorable routine that says, I am done abusing myself in the dark. Sleep becomes non-negotiable, not because it's comforting, but because it's a weapon. And when your sleep becomes disciplined, your energy sharpens, your hormones stabilize, your brain calms, and your confidence rises. Next comes movement, not extreme workouts fueled by insecurity, not punishment disguised as fitness, not an aesthetic chase. Movement, daily, disciplined, consistent movement, is the sharpening of your blade. Your body was not designed for stillness. It was not designed for chairs, screens, or slouching towards slow death. It was designed to move, push, pull, climb, sweat, strain, and adapt. When you move your body every day, even a little, you send a signal to your entire identity. We are rising. And your mind obeys. Your energy follows. Your discipline ignites. Your workouts do not need to be perfect. They don't need to be long. They don't need to be Instagram worthy. They just need to exist. Every day, without negotiation. Through movement, you regain authority over your physiology. Through movement, anxiety transforms into energy. Through movement, depression becomes momentum. Through movement, you remember that you are alive and capable. After movement comes fuel, not comfort food, not emotional indulgence, not the chemically engineered garbage designed to keep you addicted, tired, and dependent. Fuel, the kind your body recognizes, the kind that sharpens your clarity instead of fogging your mind, the kind that stabilizes your emotions instead of hijacking them, the kind that supports your mission instead of sabotaging it. Most people never feel their full potential because their body is constantly fighting the trash they feed it. You rebuild by feeding your body like it is a temple, a machine, a weapon, not a bin for leftovers and impulses. Water, whole foods, protein, healthy fats, consistent meals, minimal sugar, minimal junk, minimal chaos. Your body responds to quality with quality. You are not eating for pleasure. You are eating for power. Then comes the part nobody respects until they experience it. Nature, silence, light, breath. You are a creature that evolved under the sun, in fresh air, walking on land, surrounded by organic noise, not digital static. When you remove yourself from nature, your nervous system becomes unhinged. When you reintroduce sunlight, breathwork, grounding, fresh air, and stillness, your mind resets in ways no drug or doctor can replicate. This is not spirituality. This is biology. You rebuild with simplicity. 15 minutes of sunlight, cold water exposure, deep breathing, grounding walks, quiet mornings, intentional stillness. These small acts repair the very systems modern life destroyed. And then finally comes consistency. Not intensity, not perfection, not unrealistic routines you abandon after 3 days. Consistency is what turns a damaged body into a fortress. Small habits done daily become unbreakable walls that protect your energy, your discipline, your focus, your identity. When your body becomes strong, your mind becomes sharp. When your physiology stabilizes, your emotions balance. When your habits align, your potential awakens. And then something powerful happens. You stop doubting yourself. You stop fearing challenges. You stop negotiating your standards. Because your body finally becomes a home you can trust. A weapon ready for battle. A foundation that supports the weight of your destiny. You stop living as prey. You start moving as a predator. You stop surviving. You start building. This step is not about fitness. It is about reclaiming the physical throne that your poisons once occupied. A fortified body creates a dangerous mind. And a dangerous mind shapes an unstoppable life. Step 4. Reprogram your mind with honor and restraint. You can cleanse your body. You can rebuild your strength. You can eliminate every physical poison. But if your mind is still infected, you will fall back into the same traps that destroyed you before. Because the mind is the battlefield. And most people walk into that battlefield unarmed, untrained, and unaware that they are even at war. Your mind has been conditioned by the world, by your past, by your habits, by your vices, by your fears, and by your own unwillingness to confront yourself. Step 4 is where you take back the throne, not through positivity, not through inspiration, but through honor, restraint, and mental discipline so sharp it cuts through temptation like a blade. This step begins with the most painful truth. Your thoughts are not innocent. Your thoughts are not neutral. Your thoughts are either building your destiny or destroying it. And most of what you think has never been consciously chosen. It was downloaded into you from the noise of the world. So you must become the architect of your mind, not its victim. 1. Silence is your first weapon. You cannot reprogram a mind that's constantly bombarded with noise. Silence is where you hear the truth. Silence is where you confront the patterns you've been avoiding. Silence is where you regain control of your internal climate. When you sit in silence, even for 5 minutes, you'll notice something uncomfortable. Your mind starts attacking you. It throws cravings, memories, anxieties, fantasies, and fears at you. Not because you're broken, but because this is the first time you've stopped running. Good. This is the first stage of mastery. You observe the chaos without reacting. You watch the storm. You let the noise scream until it exhausts itself. And in that process, you reclaim territory. 2. Boundaries around your attention. Your attention is one of the most valuable currencies in the world, and everything around you is fighting to steal it. Apps, notifications, drama, news, triggers, mindless entertainment. People who live in emotional chaos, all of them want access to your mental space. And every time you let them in, you weaken your inner fortress. So you create boundaries, not soft limitations, but hard lines in the sand. No phone first thing in the morning. No scrolling during the hours when your mind should be strongest. No entertainment that rots your attention span. No conversations with people who weaponize your emotions. No environments that pull you into mental weakness. This isn't about restriction. It's about protection. You are guarding your mind as if it were sacred real estate. Because it is. 3. Thought replacement. The warrior's internal code. This is where reprogramming truly happens. You don't stop negative thought patterns by fighting them. You stop them by replacing them. When a self-destructive thought arises, you don't argue with it. You don't negotiate. You don't analyze it. You replace it instantly with a thought aligned with your mission. For every doubt, a direction. For every fear, a standard. For every insecurity, a command. For every weakness, a reminder of who you are becoming. This is not about being delusional. It's about taking authority over the only part of life you can fully control. Your internal narrative. A warrior does not allow his mind to wander into danger. He trains it to follow his orders. 4. Dopamine discipline. Your mind is addicted to stimulation. Cheap, easy, fast dopamine. Scrolling, snacking, binging, escaping, avoiding fantasizing, procrastinating, daydreaming, pleasure chasing, instant gratification. All of these dilute your mind's power. To reprogram the mind, you must withdraw from dopamine dependency. Not forever, but long enough to restore sensitivity, clarity, and control. You do this by creating dopamine-light periods. 1 to 2 hours a day with no phone, 24-hour resets, with no entertainment weekends dedicated to quiet, productive solitude mornings without stimulation, evenings without screens. These resets repair your brain's chemistry. They rebuild your ability to focus. They destroy the addictions that hijack your discipline. A mind freed from dopamine slavery becomes a lethal instrument. 5. Identity reinstatement. You cannot reprogram your mind without reshaping your identity. Identity is the engine that drives behavior. And up until now, your identity was shaped by your poisons. Now it must be shaped by your purpose. Every day, you must remind yourself who you are becoming. Heavy repetition, daily journaling, future self-visualization, cold, stoic self-talk. Affirmations built not on delusion, but on direction. Your identity becomes a contract. I do not betray myself. I do not consume poison. I do not break discipline. I do not fear my potential. This is not motivation. This is rewiring. This is internal warfare. This is how you train your mind to obey you. And when your mind obeys you, your life bends to your will. The final shift. When your mind is reprogrammed with honor and restraint, emotional chaos evaporates, anxiety drops, focus sharpens, impulses weaken, confidence rises, discipline becomes instinct, clarity becomes your default state. You stop reacting to life. You start steering it. A mind like this cannot be controlled, manipulated, or shaken. It becomes an unbreachable fortress, the kind of mind that builds empires, commands respect, and honors its destiny. Step 4 is not the polishing of your mind. It is the reclaiming of your throne. And once you sit on that throne, nothing in this world can dethrone you again. Step 5. Live as the person who was always inside you. This is the step where most people fail. Not because it's complicated, but because it demands something the modern world has taught you to fear. Consistency, identity, permanence. Anyone can quit a poison for a week. Anyone can wake up early for 3 days. Anyone can say they're working on themselves. But living as the person you were always meant to become, every day, in the dark, without applause, without validation, without convenience, that is the true test. Reaching your potential is not a moment. It's not an event. It's not a transformation you post online. It is a lifestyle, a quiet, disciplined spiritual commitment made between you and the version of yourself you refuse to betray ever again. This step is where you step into embodiment. You no longer try. You no longer work on it. You no longer attempt to improve. You become. This is the point where the old you dies permanently, and the real you, the one hidden beneath poison, chaos, addiction, and self-neglect, finally emerges. 1. You live by standards, not moods. This is the first shift of embodiment. Weak men live by emotion. I don't feel like it. I'm tired. I'll do it tomorrow. I'm not motivated. But the highest version of yourself lives by code. I do what is required. Period. Your actions no longer depend on whether you're motivated. They depend on who you are. If you want a new life, you must stop acting like someone who's willing to break their own promises. Honor isn't about impressing others. Honor is what you practice when no one is watching. 2. You walk with purpose. When you live as your true self, your entire presence changes. You don't move through life apologetically. You don't shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You don't hesitate at every decision. You don't second-guess every step. Your posture changes. Your voice changes. Your energy changes. Your standards change. Your tolerance for nonsense disappears. People will feel it before they understand it. Your presence becomes heavier. Your boundaries become sharper. Your words carry more weight. That is what happens when you begin living with purpose, instead of drifting through life like a leaf in the wind. 3. You protect your environment as if your future depends on it, because it does. You've purged your poisons. You've rebuilt your body. You've reprogrammed your mind. Now you must guard the environment that supports all of it. Because the old world, the one filled with temptation, weakness, comfort, distraction, and emotional parasites, will try to pull you back. It'll disguise itself as nostalgia, as friends, as fun, as normal life. But you'll see it for what it truly is: a trap. As the stronger version of yourself, you now protect your environment with ruthless clarity. You limit access to your time. You cut off people who sabotage your growth. You avoid places that trigger your old patterns. You choose work, habits, and relationships that reinforce discipline. You build a life where your best self can thrive effortlessly. This is not selfishness. This is survival. 4. You practice daily rituals. that reinforce identity. Identity is not built in a single moment. It is sustained through repetition. Just like a warrior cleans his blade every morning, you reinforce your identity through daily rituals. Movement, silence, clean fuel, journaling, self-respect routines, dopamine boundaries, nighttime discipline, purpose-driven reflection. These rituals become sacred. They become the scaffolding of the new you. They become the rhythm that prevents you from slipping back into darkness. A life built on rituals does not collapse when challenged. It stands firm. 5. You accept that others will not understand your transformation. This is the part that stings. When you rise, people will whisper. They'll question. They'll argue. They'll project their insecurities onto you. They'll say you've changed. Good. You were never meant to stay who you were. You will intimidate people who live in their poison. You will disturb those who remain controlled by impulse. You will offend those who fear responsibility. Your discipline becomes a mirror, and not everyone can face their own reflection. But you don't rise for them. You rise for you. Others will wonder how you did it. They'll speculate. They'll assume you had help, luck, privilege, some mysterious advantage. But you'll know the truth. You simply stopped betraying yourself. You stopped poisoning yourself. You stopped negotiating your standards. The world didn't change. You did. And you did it in the shadows. Through discipline, through pain, through clarity, through sacrifice. 6. You live as if your potential is a duty, not a dream. Living as your highest self is not a desire. It is an obligation. You are not here to survive. You are not here to drift. You are not here to numb yourself until death. You are here to build, conquer, rise, evolve, and embody the strength you were born with. Your potential was never gone. It was buried under poison. And now, the poison is gone. The fog is lifted. The real you is awake. This final step is not about achieving something. It is about becoming someone. Someone who lives with honor. Someone who guards their mind. Someone who protects their body. Someone who walks with purpose. Someone who embraces discipline. Someone who refuses to return to who they once were. This is the moment your new life begins. Not because you changed, but because you returned to your true nature. So now you stand at the edge of two lives, the one you survived and the one you were meant to live. You've seen where your poisons led you. You've seen how much of your fear, anxiety, chaos, and self-doubt came not from weakness, but from contamination. You've learned to identify the toxins that diluted your potential. You've begun the purge. You've rebuilt your body into a fortress. You've reprogrammed your mind with honor and restraint. And now you walk as the version of yourself that was buried beneath years of self-neglect. This wasn't transformation. This was resurrection. And the world will not congratulate you for it. It won't understand it. It won't applaud the nights you resisted temptation. It won't cheer for the mornings you fought your demons alone. It won't see the battles you won in silence. But that is exactly why you will win. Because you did this without witnesses. You did this without validation. You did this without permission. You did this because deep down, you knew you were living far below your potential. And you refused to die like that. The truth most people never face is this. There is a version of you so powerful, so disciplined, so focused, so unshakable, that your old life could never contain him. But you can only reach him by removing everything that keeps you small, everything that steals your clarity, everything that poisons your body, mind, and spirit. You rise not because you were born exceptional. You rise because you stopped accepting a life that made you feel weak. You stopped self-soothing and started self-respecting. You stopped running and started confronting. You stopped numbing your pain and learned to weaponize it. You stopped allowing poison to enter your life. And suddenly, your potential stopped hiding from you. This is the point where men separate. Those who slip back into their poisons, and those who turn their discipline into destiny. You already know which one you are. Because from this moment forward, you don't live as a man trying to improve. You live as a man reclaiming what was always his. Your strength, your clarity, your discipline, your focus, your honor, your potential. Others will look at you and ask, what changed? And you will give them the only answer that matters. I stopped poisoning myself. I started living with honor. And the real me finally came back. This is your new beginning. And there is no turning back.